bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-ba-dum. I'm going to stop there because we have a lot to talk about tonight, and I don't want to waste any more time humming and bebopping. I just want to get right to it. Hi, friends. Joette Calabrese here. We do this every Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, whether we like it or not. We do one thing and one thing only, and that is we study, I teach you homeopathy. And so that's why I'm here. And for those of you who already know me, hi, friends. Thank you for joining me. It's great to talk to you and to be with you. It's my privilege, my friends. So hi ho, Silver, and away we go. Let's talk about the travel remedies, the top travel remedies that I use, or that I would potentially use, or I have used. Now I'm going to show you this because this is my kit, and it is Boron who is has put this all together with me. It's been a collaboration. And I have to tell you, for every penny that we get, that I get, that my company gets, goes towards our 501c3 in order to help the folks in remote villages in India, so that the doctors of the Pradeep Banerjee Homeopathic Research Memorial Research Foundation can help take care of them. And a couple of other events that I like to, not events, I would say areas that I believe is very important for our health freedom in the U.S. and Canada. So, my friends, let's talk. We're going to talk about remedies tonight, but the first thing I want to do is I want to show you an old kit. Now, here's my old kit. This is from 1987. Standard homeopathic. And believe it or not, I have a couple of remedies that are missing, and every once in a while I fill them in and then take them out and use them again. There were 29 remedies. I still use this kit. I still use it. Now, I'm not going to use it for a chronic condition, because if it's a chronic condition, I'm going to be taking it daily over a long period of time, right? But or twice a week or once a month or whatever it is that we're supposed to be using this. However, we're supposed to be using this for protocols. But when it comes to acute situations, I often refer to this. Now, I've got a lot more remedies. But let me also tell you and show you an even older kit. This was a kit that my husband got me for Christmas. It's leather and it's all engraved. And here are all the remedies in glass with little cork tops. I've shown this to you before, but it's just so fascinating. It's worth showing again. It still has pills in it. The pills are still in it. It's a beautiful. It was one of my favorite gifts I've ever gotten for Christmas, and it is called a herring. It's called Medicines for Dr. C. Herring's Domestic Physician. And then I want you to know it wasn't unusual for people to have a kit like this. No, it wasn't. And let me show you. In my own hometown of Buffalo, New York, this is a picture of Buffalo Homeopathic Hospital. See that big building? I was actually born there. It was not called Buffalo Homeopathic Hospital when I was born there. By that time, it had been changed to the name Millard Fillmore Hospital. But there's Gate Circle, that beautiful circle. It was in the best part of town. Beautiful, beautiful hospital. It was called Buffalo Homeopathic Hospital. And when they tore it down, which they did, I tried to buy the big brass, is it brass? Maybe, I think it was brass, sign that said Buffalo Homeopathic Hospital. I don't know where I would have put it. It was huge. Couldn't get it. I tried very hard to obtain that. Maybe just, I wasn't going to keep it myself, probably donate it to the Buffalo Historical Society and then give them information on that. But I thought I'd share that with you because we who travel with homeopathy are not new. People have been traveling with homeopathy for generations. Let's see, shall we say about 200 some years, 220 years, 240 years, something like that. So we've been around for quite some time. So I'm going to say hi to a couple people. Isn't that fun? Jane says I have one of those too from Standard Homeopathic. Yeah, that means you've been using homeopathy for some time, right? Hi from Ajax, says Rona. Nice to see you. Hi Elizabeth. Hi Esther and Dolly and Pam, Elizabeth and Robin and Cheryl and Elizabeth. It's so great to see you all. Thank you for joining me, friends, and thank you for having confidence in what I teach you here. So let me start by saying that what I travel with is going to be different than what you might travel with. And I'll tell you why. I don't have small children any longer. But if I were traveling with my grandchildren, I would be considering what remedies are needed by a child, right? Makes sense. Now, my husband and I travel, and we're in our 70s, and we travel with different kinds of remedies. Many of them are the same, many, but some are not. For example, if I were traveling with a small child, I would carry chamomilla with me for the purpose of teething. You never know when teething might come along, right? It just happens. So we want to be sure that we've got it. If I were traveling and I had a teenager or a young adult who had just moved away from home and I needed to get it to them, I might send them, I don't know, Ignatia for the weepiness that some children have when they go away to school. So, but I'm going to go through some categories, and I want your input because it's always great to see what other people travel with to give everyone else ideas and why you keep that remedy on hand. I counted anywhere between 25 and 30 remedies that I generally carry with me. Now, let me start also by saying that if I'm taking a remedy for a particular condition, I've talked about how I had osteomyelitis years ago, I would absolutely take my remedies that are specific for osteomyelitis. I no longer have that. But if my husband used to have a bloating and gut issues, and he no longer has that. So we don't need those remedies any longer. Those have been, shall we say, addressed solely by homeopathy. So we're not going, but should I suspect that one of those two conditions might return, then by all means, I'm going to take that with me. Now, very occasionally, I get a little arthritis. Maybe once every, I don't know, sometimes it's once a year, sometimes it's every 6 months. I get a little arthritis. I take my beloved Rus Tax. I take a couple doses and then it's gone for many months more, sometimes even for a year. So that's the way that I think. Now, could it occur? Could it happen if I'm away from home? It most certainly could. That's one condition that I want you to know about, or one, I should say, moving part, or one factor. Another factor is for how long will I be traveling? If I'm only going away for the weekend, it's not such a big deal. I have specific ones that I take with me wherever I go, and I'll go over that. And you may know them already because I talk about them all the time. But if it's something that's going to be elongated, I'm going, I don't know, to Europe or something for 2 weeks, or if I'm going on a road trip and driving out to the Rocky Mountains or something, then I might indeed carry something that's a little different because there might be a change of weather. There might be, because I'm so far away, I don't have any contact with Amazon or with any pharmacies that I'm familiar with. So let me say that it does matter where we're going, who I'm with, what conditions I've suffered from in the past or my husband has suffered from. So the first thing I always think of, always and forever, it's on me at all times. I keep it in my purse at all times. If I change my purse, that remedy moves with it, and it is aconitum. Aconitum napellus, 200C. I keep it with me at all times. Now, here's my little kit, and aconitum is one of the first ones. Is it in here? Let's see. I'm not finding it right now. But keep this remedy with me at all times. It is as important as my keys. Well, keys are not so important either anymore. It's important, okay? Why? Because it's for anything that comes on suddenly, such as a cold or a flu, something, with weather related where something changes, or an accident, not only an accident that I might have fallen or my husband might fall, but also a vascular accident, a vascular event, a cardiac event. Any one of those conditions would be well met with aconitum napellus 200C. So now let's get that and put that aside because I'm going to give you a number more. Oh, yeah, here we go. Harry says, change of altitude, carbohydrate. Thank you. Let's go through these. This is wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Now, I don't travel in the mountains. Or I haven't recently. It's been a long time. But yes, if you're going into the mountains, my friends, you need carbovegetablus, change of altitude. You need to own that. 30 or 200. Now, I think in terms of what could happen. What's the one thing that might be most concerning if we're on a road trip? For me, that I think of an emergency, an accident. So aconitum, of course. But then we got to have arnica, right? We need arnica. That just goes without saying. Arnica, Montana. I get everything. I'd have everything in a 200. Perhaps if I was really concerned, I might have arnica in a higher potency. Calendula. That's for a severing of the skin, some kind of injury to the skin. Very important. Bleeding and injury to the skin. Calendula. I would get that in a 200C. I would have it in a 200C. And then the pain that might accompany it would be hypericum. For that or any other kind of extreme pain. Now, people think of hypericum perforatum, but hypericum perforatum. Hypericum is specific for nerve pain, but my friends, it's for so much more than nerve pain. Don't think of it only as nerve. It's just for an extreme pain. So it could be if there's a broken bone and the pain is just over the top. Hypericum. There's an automobile accident. The pain, regardless of what it could be, where the injury is, it is over the top. Hypericum. Then I want you to think of bryonia. These are all writer-downers, friends. And once you learn some of these, then you're going to find that there are many that you're going to not only learn it tonight, but you'll learn it in other areas as well. And it will help you remember how to use these. Excuse me while I take a sip of my water. All righty, excuse me. Bryonia. We need bryonia. Why do we need bryonia? Chest. But it's also great for an injury to the back, an injury to any part of the body that hurts when there is movement, any kind of movement, but especially a slipped disc or something that feels like a slipped disc, back pain, etc. Bryonia, and all of these 30s and 200s. Ledum. We love ledum. It's great for a prick, an insect bite, something sharp that gets into the body. Step on a nail. Doesn't have to be a rusty nail. Just step on a nail. It's going to be ledum. But ledum is also great for other kind of needle of sorts. That's a little. Think of a mosquito's noggin getting into your skin. Ledum is great for mosquito bites or bee stings or anything like that. Or if there are injuries and you end up in an emergency room, ledum is great for ailments from injections. Yes, love it, love it, love it. You're hopping right in here with me. Florigine is already writing them. Thank you. Aconite, arnica, hypericum, bryonia, ledum. Missing one. Are you missing one? All right. Let's go to another one then. Hypericum, you got that. Ruta, R-U-T-A, ruta, great for strains and sprains, especially the sprains of the ankles and even the arms and the wrists. Ruta for strains and sprains. And then one of the great remedies for emergencies is pyrogenium. It is a beautiful medicine for the potential of an infection, or there is an infection. So let's say you have an accident. You're in another country and you're being treated at a hospital and there's the potential of you or having surgery and there's an infection ensuing. They're going to give you antibiotics. You can use pyrogenium 200C. It is a miraculous remedy for that kind of infection. It's generally not considered for respiratory infection, although it has been, but that's not generally the way we think of it. We think in terms of skin infection, bone infection, joint infection, that kind of thing. Now, what if you get into bad food? You go to Mexico, Montezuma's Revenge. Got to have Veratrum album. Veratrum album. For extreme diarrhea, and Montezuma's Revenge. Cuprum metallicum is part of this. Cuprum metallicum. They're often mixed. I've mixed them a number of times. I mix Veratrum album 200 with Cuprum Veratrum 6. Cuprum metallicum, 6. Mix them together. Take them every few hours or every hour in the beginning. Excellent for extreme diarrhea, such as dysentery. So think about that as a possibility. Podophyllum, such voluminous diarrhea from either bad food or water that you're not accustomed to. Amoebic dysentery, excellent. What else? Pulsatilla. Pulsatilla is from ailments, not severe, not like amoebic dysentery, not like what we just said about Veratrum album and the others. We think of pulsatilla from bad food, or not even bad food, excuse me, food from a foreign place. You normally eat at home, but you've just eaten at a restaurant and you just don't feel so well. So pulsatilla. Pulsatilla is a great ailments from restaurant food, and you don't even have to be traveling to use any of these. And then my beloved arsenicum album. Love it. It's for collapse, exhaustion, burning in the stomach, nausea, anxiety, all related to bad food. And sometimes it's just frank collapse with diarrhea. Now, let me just say parenthetically, my friends, that these are not the only medicines we can use. I've chosen the top ones. So if you use one of the top remedies and it doesn't act, please don't give up and say, oh no, homeopathy doesn't work. No, it means, first of all, expectations are important. Do you expect it to work in one dose? Often it doesn't. Often, if it's an emergency, we need to use the medicine every 15 minutes for the first hour, and then after that, every couple of hours, and watch and observe. And we're not just watching and observing what's happening now, or what the condition is that we're concerned about, but also those satellite conditions that seem to be seemingly irrelevant, but are actually relevant in the long run. So when someone is sick and they've got Montezuma's revenge, and they're very sick with watery stool and they're collapsed, and you're giving them the remedy, what you should also see is that their shoulders start dropping, and they're not as anxious, and they're not as frightened, and they're not as cold, and you're seeing other conditions related to, or other symptoms or signals that are related to the main condition, so you can determine whether or not the medicine you've just chosen is acting. That's how you know. That's how you know. That's why you want to learn as much as you can about homeopathy, my friends. Now, I have a history of allergies. My allergies are actually not so bothersome at all. They are really quite under control. Under control, maybe a better way to put it is pretty much resolved. I have very mild. But if something were to hit me and I didn't know what to do, I would want to own the remedy histaminum. It's a histamine reaction. Histaminum. I like it in a 30. Histaminum. Just the way it sounds. But if there are hives, then I'm thinking apis or urtica urens. Now, hives could come from being exposed to pesticides. Hives can come from eating shrimp if you have an allergy to it. It can come from oranges if you have an allergy, strawberries, any of those kinds of things. Those are good. Also, I want you to think of Bovista. And when I teach Bovista in my allergic course, I often teach that it's for chronic conditions. But if someone has allergies, that is a chronic condition. And if we only see an acute aspect of the chronic condition, then we can still use Bovista and alternate it with whatever else is happening. So we can alternate Bovista with, say, histaminum, or alternate Bovista with apis or urtica urens, etc. Let's talk about bad air. And what do I mean by bad air? Well, what people might call flu or cold. Something, the weather changes and you feel it coming on. The barometric pressure shifts. There's a change in the atmosphere in general. That's when people get sick. So I'm of the belief that is why people usually get sick from these kinds of respiratory conditions, that it's related to our environment, something extrinsic coming in. So what's my first remedy I think of? Well, I love oscillococcinum. It's right here in my little kit. I love it for all kinds of conditions. That's what they do. So you can see it with the palm of my hand behind it. It comes in my little kit. It's great for cold coming on, especially when it's wet and cold. Wet, cold weather, think oscillococcinum. And I know that these words are foreign to many of you who are new, but let me just say that these are all phonetic. Exactly the way they sound is how they were written. Histaminum, histaminum, apis, apis, bovista, bovista. Just the way it sounds. Especially if you've ever had any Italian or Spanish or Latin, it all makes perfect sense because these are, of course, Latin names. Okay, so where are we now? Bad air. Aconitum, which we've talked about before, and I like it mixed with bryonia. Bryonia. Bryonia we've talked about before as well. Bryonia is great for, say, a broken bone or any ailments from movement, slipped disc. But now we're in the bad air category, and I like bryonia for when there is something that's going to the chest, a cough or a sensation. Uh-oh, here it comes. You know that familiar feeling. I remember this. Whatever that is, I always think aconitum. Uh-oh, fast. Move along quickly. Aconitum 200 and bryonia. Beautiful combination medicine. That's a Banerjee protocol. It's a great, and it's bryonia 30, aconitum 200. And we can mix them together. But you know another really great remedy for when a cold or something like that comes on, especially if there's achiness or if the person is overworked? I want you to think of Nux vomica. Now, I bet you're wondering, where's the Nux vomica with the food? Yeah, it's also for bad food as well, from overdoing food that you're not accustomed to. But I love Nux vomica for bad air, a cold coming on, a flu coming on. How do you know if what is it, a flu, a cold? How could we possibly know something like that? You don't know. And please, get that diaper thing off the face. Get rid of them, throw them in the garbage. They're useless, meaningless. They're statements more than anything else. They are useless in terms of health. Breathe in the fresh air, be around people. We need society. We need each other. Forget all of those fears. Move ahead and just have your remedies ready. So, I love Nux vomica for when there's aching and fatigue and you feel like you're coming down with something and it just feels like you've overdone it. Maybe you overate or you had too much to drink or you traveled too far or you stayed up too late or it's you have jet lag. Nux vomica. Nux vomica. Very good medicine. Jet lag. I'm going to throw in jet lag we could have added to. I don't know if I'd call it emergencies, but I would certainly consider it part of travel, and that is also arnica. Arnica montana, excellent remedy for jet lag and for insomnia around jet lag. Arnica 30 is an excellent potency, very good. Nux vomica, I like it in a 30 or a 200. Nux vomica is also, I know I'm jumping around, but I know you'll get it. Veratrum album is also, excuse me, that's not what I meant to say. I meant to say Nux vomica for constipation, which is really common when we're traveling. Yes, thank you, Robin. I agree. Forget the diaper on the face, says Nancy. You bet, my friends. We don't fear because we have solutions, and our solutions are not, what shall I say, magpie medicine. These medicines that I'm telling you now are the same today, whether you travel in a car or on a plane, or you were in a stagecoach, or you were walking, or you were sitting on a donkey's back. The remedies are the same. There is nothing capricious about homeopathy, my dear friends. It is the same remedies in 1790 as it was in 1830, as it was in 1890 and 1910 and 1930 and 1985 and 2020 and 2026. It's the same. Nothing's changed. Nothing has changed. And that's why when I show you this kit from that my husband got me for Christmas, these remedies are the same ones. If I read these to you, it would be exactly the same medicines that I'm reading to you now. And they are the same remedies used for the same conditions. And these are very, very old. And it's possible, And I've done this. I've tested these out, old ones like this. I haven't tested this particular kit, but I've tested other ones that I have remedies that are also from about 1918, and I've actually taken them and used them, and they still acted. What? Oh, yes, my friends. These are not patented. No, they're not synthetic. There are no side effects. It's still the same. They're made in the same fashion. As long as they're made in a reputable pharmacy, they're made in the same fashion. Nothing has changed since the late 1700s. Alrighty, let's see what else we've got. Thank you. I know. What has changed, and I was just talking about this in one of my study groups today, what has changed is the world is not as beautiful. They used to engrave leather. That's what this is, engraved leather. The buildings were beautiful. Music was beautiful. Life was different. And so, my friends, that's part of my message tonight. I'll get back around to it about beauty and the importance of it. Okay? What's the best way to protect remedies while traveling? Keep them with you. Don't worry about it. My remedies have gone through x-rays so many times. I think it was a misunderstanding of x-rays. If you put your remedies in an x-ray machine and left it there and x-rayed it, then I believe it would certainly affect them, most likely. But just passing through an x-ray machine. Now, when I'm in an airport, I say to the attendees, please don't put these in through the x-ray machine, because I have a whole box like this or a whole box like that. Don't put them through because these are homeopathic remedies. But to be honest, I'm really just doing it. It's overly protective because I want them to ask me questions about it. And it has happened a number of times. What do you mean homeopathic remedies? Oh, yes, these are special. I'll show them to you. And then if it's a woman, I say, do you have children? You might want to know about this remedy. How old are your child? Any of your children teething? You might want to know. And I write down chamomilla 200C. That's how we get this going around the world. Once you know this, my friends, I hate to tell you, I'm passing on the torch to you. It is your responsibility. Can remedies be near a cell phone? I would certainly hope so, because we keep them in our purses, and cell phones are there too. Yes, they can be. Yes, they are, on a regular basis. It's the world in which we live. I was always very, very careful, but then I found by accident, oops, one of the remedies went through the washer and then the hot dryer, and that still worked. And oops, my remedies stayed in my purse, and I didn't realize I had a couple of them remaining in my purse and went through the x-ray machine, and yet they still acted. And then all through India, when you're going into a mall in Calcutta, everything is x-rayed. Your purse is x-rayed. Let me get my remedies out, and I missed one. Oh, it went through the x-ray. Oh, well, and yet I worked, and it still acted. High heat, my friends, if you spend any time in Calcutta, it is so hot there at certain times of the year. There's no way we would have to worry about these remedies, that they would have to worry about their remedies. They are much more buoyant, shall I say, rigorous, no, not rigorous, muscular, mighty than we give them credit for. These remedies are very sturdy, much more than you might think. All righty, let's go to another one. Pulsatilla, arsenicum, nux vomica, veratrum, that's all bad food. The bad air, bryonia, eupatorium. For that thing that happened 5 years ago, eupatorium was one of my favorite medicines. It was a really good one. We used it frequently. And Joe Pathy, my dear friend who passed away last year, used eupatorium on a regular basis and treated entire factories prophylactically with eupatorium in a water bottle. And also, rhus tox, when it's that achy everywhere. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm coming down with something, and everything's achy. The bones, the joints, you just feel fatigued and muted. Rhus tox. But then there's nux vomica, and I will tell you, years ago, a friend of mine, when we were first learning homeopathy, we knew nothing. She would give her husband nux vomica anytime he got sick. And I said, I didn't know you could use it for that. She said, oh, yeah, anytime he gets sick. What's your rationale, said I. She said, well, because he gets a little nauseous. Okay, that's good rationale. But because he works so hard. And he's always in the head. He's always working. He's a pencil pusher. He works all day in accounting. And so that was his medicine. And so I found it time and time again. Yes, my friends, you can decline going through the scanners. I don't go through scanners either. I say, no, thank you. You can pat me down. It's all right. I don't mind. An extra 10 minutes. All right. Then the next one I want you to think about is camphor. Camphor 200. Camphor 200 is a great medicine for any time you get into something that feels like, I don't know, something toxic, or you took a medicine, too many drugs, or you even took the wrong homeopathic remedy, and now you have to antidote it and start over again. Camphor 200 is a beautiful medicine to have on hand. And then, we could keep going with this. Coffea. I love coffea. It's a great remedy for when you have too much coffee or too much chocolate, but it's also even greater for insomnia, inability to stay asleep. Fall asleep, wake up. Fall asleep, wake up. And it's also great for any time there's itching, especially itching at night. Also refuse the facial recognition. Thank you, Mindy. Yeah, no thanks. I'm not going to do that. I feel the same way. All right. I've already answered that. Let's see what other questions we might have here. I'm going to go on to my mighties in a moment. What about the plastic bottles the remedies are in? If heated, especially UV, isn't that going to have the possibility of leaching carcinogens? I don't know. I've had these remedies. These are in plastic. I don't know. Since 1987. It's a long time to own remedies. They still act. I think these pharmacies, the reputable pharmacies, know what they're doing. Excuse me. They know what they're doing. They take everything into consideration. As long as you are purchasing from a reputable pharmacy, let me name them. Of course, Boron, we love them. OHM Pharma, if you're a student or a client of mine, you can buy from them. They're not retailers. Washington Homeopathics, excellent, in West Virginia. Helios in England, excellent. They ship quickly. Hahnemann Pharmacy in the San Francisco area. There are many good pharmacies. Don't buy from someone who's making remedies in their basement. I think you know that, right? You would know that. Yeah. And don't try to make them yourself. If the apocalypse comes someday, I'm going to assume it's never going to happen. And you have no choice. Yeah, you make your remedies. But if I had my druthers, when I'm not well, my husband's not well, my children, my dog, my cat, whatever it might be, I want someone behind the product who really knows what they're doing. I don't want any tinkering with my medicines. Yep. Oh, moth just landed here. Let's see. Boron just recently changed their tubes because of this. That is why I asked. It made me wonder about the ones I had in storage. No, these are all good. Ainsworth in the UK. That's right. Thompson's in Toronto. Yes, those are all good pharmacies. Absolutely. Let's see. They make you do the facial recognition. How do we get out of it? You say, no, thank you. I won't do that. Thank you. You just don't do it. Just like you have to go for a mammogram. No, thank you. You have to get a colonoscopy. No, thank you. You decide. You actually get to decide. You get this injection. No, thanks. No, thank you. Yeah, it is up. Yes, coffea for sleep. Yes, coffea for itching. Coffea for sleep. Absolutely. Yep. Let's see. Roost Tox is so great for aching and restlessness while trying to rest. Yes, Laura, you're absolutely right. My kid has gone through the x-ray machine so many times, they still work. And as you said, they are robust. They are, Miriam. Absolutely. Yep. You can decline. You just say, no, thank you. You don't want to cause trouble. You just say, be polite. Oh, Harry, you're precious. Harry says the moth likes you, Joette, because it's attracted to light. Harry, you're one in a million. I've never met you, Harry. Someday we're going to meet. Yeah, Carrie in Texas says, you just say for facial recognition, I'm opting out. That is, you use their terminology. I'm opting out. Yes. And they, just as you're handing them your ticket and your passport. Oh, you stand right there for your photo. I said, no, I'm opting out. And they don't do it. Oh, hello, Ellen Margaret. Greetings from the little house in the big woods. All righty. Let's see if we've got any other. Let's see. My brother, says Elizabeth, missed the last 2 flus while using eupatorium in the Joepathy prevention method. That's beautiful, Elizabeth. That's the way to go. You see what homeopathy is? I'll put it in 2 words. Health, freedom. This is the health freedom. This is the freedom from angst. It's the freedom from authority. It's the freedom from believing that you're going down a certain path and you can actually turn it around. You can turn it around. There's so much more in your hands than you realize. I'm going to read something to you, and then we'll call it an evening. The famous, let's see if I can find his name, Antarctic expedition organizer was Ernest Shackleton. And he said, this was back in 1901, sometime around there, he was looking for men to join him on his expedition to Antarctica. He wrote an ad, and it said, men wanted for hazardous journey, low wages, bitter cold, long hours of complete darkness, safe return doubtful, but honor and recognition in the event of success. He only needed 28 men, and more than 5,000 signed up for it. That was when a population was robust. They didn't mind the journey being hazardous. They didn't mind the low wages. They didn't mind the bitter cold and the long hours of complete darkness. And they didn't mind the possibility there was no safe return. But in the event of success, they would have gained honor and recognition. That's you, my friends. That's us. We have to have courage. We have to have strength. We have to have a backbone. And if your backbone isn't strong enough, flex it, work on it. And it comes from knowledge and study and intelligence and questioning and stepping outside of the box and guts, spunk, and moxie. Because without it, my friends, we are mush. We're nothing. My grandparents on both sides of my family came from Sicily, and they were very young people when they came. They didn't know the language. All their brothers and all my aunts and uncles were born here, or were born there, except for my parents and on both sides. So my parents were born in the U.S., but everyone else was born in Sicily. They didn't have the language. They didn't have the culture. But they had guts, they had spunk, and they had moxie. And it was the same for the Irish, and it was the same for the Germans and the Jews. And no matter who you talk to, whoever came to this country and worked hard to get here, it took a certain personality. And it took a certain kind of questioning, a questioning mind. And once you question, answers start filling in. Be careful what kind of answers they are. Do your homework. Know who you're following. Read, educate yourself, and align yourself, my friends. Align yourself with the right kind of people. You can't pick your family. That's okay. If they're not on board with you, that's okay. But you can pick everyone else. Align yourself. Study with people who think like you. Spend time with people who think the way you do. And it will elevate you. Choose people who are successful in learning how to do this, successful in accomplishing this. And so, with that, my dear friends, I say, God bless you all. And I wish you a great week. And I hope you have your kit all ready for any traveling you might do. Take care, and I'll see you next time.